Good morning, ladies and gents. My name's Nick Kirby, Director at Pegasus Group, Town Planning Consultant. And I'm here this morning to talk to you about the change development rights to allow for national space standards. So this is hot off the press. We're 2 days after it being laid before Parliament on the 11th of November. And it was laid in a statutory instrument numbered 1243 if you're a really eager bean and want to look that up yourself. So what does the statutory instrument actually impose? It imposes the use of national space standards, internal space standards that is, for permitted development and the delivery of new residential dwellings through permitted development. And it requires at least national space standards to be followed. So there's no prohibition on delivering larger than national space standards. And the important thing is that this legislation is coming into force so that dwellings delivered after the 6th of April 2021 have to meet national space standards. So there is some time for adjustment and there is some time to progress schemes that are currently in the pipeline that may be being appraised by developers not using national space standards. And this forms part of a raft of wider changes that the government are introducing to try and improve the quality of accommodation that can be delivered through permitted development rights. They're very keen on the delivery of residential dwellings through permitted development rights and the substantial contribution that they're making towards achieving our 300,000 homes a year annually target for the government. However, there has been some concerns expressed, many concerns expressed in the industry about the quality of that accommodation. So in the most recent permitted development rights relating to upwards extensions and demolition and rebuild, the government has sought to introduce national daylighting standards for those permitted developments. And also now combining that with the use of national space standards, they're certainly seeking to drive quality of accommodation up and weed out the possibilities for substandard accommodation to be delivered. So that's obviously a positive thing. However, the use of national space standards is rather a blunt tool. To seek to use national space standards for a full planning application for full permission is only possible where the council has that adopted in their local plan. And that is for very good reason. That is so that the use of national space standards can be considered through the local plan process, how those space standards would impact on viability of development and how it would impact on affordability of those trying to get into the housing market at perhaps the lower levels. So the imposition of national space standards through permitted development doesn't necessarily allow consideration of those issues of viability and affordability. So that will certainly need to be considered on a scheme-by-scheme basis by developers, as it's certainly not been tested at the kind of granular level. The secondary issue, I think, is that this possibly has the potential to reduce innovation for developers to try and deliver accommodation at the most efficient way, basically, to find innovative ways to use internal space efficiently. And to try and react to the way that we live our lives now, which is obviously no longer one where people have record collections and very bulky equipment like that. People are now storing things via electronic means, and perhaps that needs a more flexible and reactive space standard than just the imposition of national space standards. So I think in summary, it is a good thing that the quality of accommodation is being improved. But there certainly needs to be a question as to whether the national space standard is right in all instances. But I don't think that question will be possible to be asked under the new permitted development regulations. I think it will be a yes or no answer through those permitted development regulations. Thanks for listening.